My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because today looks like a celebration, but beneath every smile, an untold story is quietly unfolding. Stay till the end because appearances can be convincing, yet the heart often carries emotions that no one else can see. Today, your former partner seems happier than ever after choosing someone else and beginning a new chapter. Friends congratulate them, photographs capture bright smiles, and everyone around them believes they have finally found the happiness they were searching for. The laughter sounds genuine, the conversations flow easily, and for a moment even they begin believing that every difficult choice they made has led them exactly where they were meant to be. As the day continues, they spend time with the new person, visiting familiar places, making plans, and talking excitedly about the future. Everything feels fresh and exciting. Every moment seems to confirm that moving on was the right decision. Yet when the excitement fades for just a few quiet minutes, unexpected thoughts begin to appear. They remember conversations that once brought them peace, moments when someone understood them without judgment, and the quiet comfort of being accepted without pretending to be someone else. In this fictional story, those memories are not about regret. They are reminders that genuine emotional connections leave lasting impressions that cannot simply disappear overnight. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. Later that evening, while everyone else believes the day has ended perfectly, they find themselves sitting alone in silence. Their phone is beside them, but they aren't scrolling through messages anymore. Instead, they are asking themselves questions they never expected to face so soon. Am I truly happy? Or am I simply excited because everything is still new? The question catches them by surprise. They try to push it away, but it keeps returning. They begin realizing that excitement and peace are not always the same thing. Excitement is loud. Peace is quiet. Excitement can disappear with changing circumstances. Peace remains even after the celebrations are over. As the night grows darker, they open an old notebook they haven't touched in months. Between its pages is a small handwritten note that simply says, "Thank you for always making me feel safe enough to be myself." They stare at those words for what feels like forever. No dramatic declaration. No promises. Just one simple sentence that suddenly carries more meaning than anything they heard all day. For the first time, they understand that emotional safety is one of the rarest gifts two people can share. Days continue passing, and while life moves forward, they begin paying closer attention to their own heart instead of trying to satisfy everyone else's expectations. They stop pretending that every answer is already clear. They start becoming more honest with themselves, admitting where they made mistakes, where fear influenced their decisions, and where they still have room to grow. They realize that blaming another person will never heal their own heart. One quiet afternoon, while walking alone through a peaceful park, they whisper softly, "Maybe this journey isn't teaching me who was right or wrong. Maybe it's teaching me the difference between temporary happiness and lasting peace." Those words remain with them long after they leave the park. As evening falls, their phone suddenly vibrates. A new notification appears from someone they haven't heard from in a very long time. There is no accusation. No emotional speech. No attempt to reopen old wounds. Only one unexpected sentence. "I hope life has been kind to you." Their heartbeat slows. The smile on their face quietly disappears. Not because they suddenly regret every decision, but because those few simple words awaken emotions they thought had been left behind forever. For the first time since beginning this new chapter, they realize that some questions cannot be answered by appearances alone. And deep inside, they know that the conversation waiting ahead may become the most important one of their life. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because the message they receive doesn't leave their mind for even a single moment. Stay till the end because what happens next forces them to confront feelings they believed had disappeared forever. They continue staring at the screen. I hope life has been kind to you. Such a simple sentence. Yet it carries a weight that no long conversation ever could. They lock the phone without replying, but the words continue echoing in their thoughts throughout the entire evening. The laughter they shared earlier suddenly feels quieter. The excitement that surrounded the day slowly fades into reflection. In this fictional story, they realize that the heart has a remarkable memory. It doesn't always remember the biggest celebrations. Sometimes it remembers the smallest moments of kindness more clearly than anything else. Later that night, while everyone else is asleep, they sit alone on the balcony watching the city lights flicker in the distance. The cool breeze carries a peaceful silence, giving them space to think honestly for the first time in months. They begin asking themselves difficult questions. Why did that message affect me so deeply? What part of my heart is still searching for answers? The more they think, the more they realize the message didn't awaken forgotten love alone. It awakened unfinished emotions. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. They stop comparing people and start comparing the person they used to be with the person they are becoming. They understand that every relationship teaches something valuable. Some teach us how to love. Others teach us what happens when communication disappears. Some reveal our greatest strengths, while others expose fears we never realized we carried. Instead of blaming anyone, they quietly accept responsibility for the lessons they still need to learn. The following afternoon, they decide to take a break from everything. No phone calls. No social media. No distractions. They drive to a quiet lake where they once found peace during difficult times. Sitting near the water, they remember countless conversations they once had with someone who always encouraged them to be honest, even when honesty was uncomfortable. Those memories don't make them sad. They make them grateful. For the first time, they understand that real love is not measured by who stays forever. It is measured by how deeply someone changes your life for the better. Hours later, they finally unlock their phone again. The message is still there. After reading it one last time, they slowly begin typing. Thank you. I hope life has been kind to you as well. I truly wish you happiness. They read the words several times before pressing send. There are no hidden meanings. No expectations. Only sincerity. As the message is delivered, an unexpected sense of peace settles over them. It feels as though a weight they had been carrying for months has quietly disappeared. Just as they slip the phone back into their pocket. It vibrates almost immediately. A reply has arrived. Their hands freeze. Their heartbeat grows louder. They open the conversation. The message says only one sentence. There's something I've wanted to tell you for a very long time, and I don't think I should keep hiding it anymore. For several long moments, they simply stare at the screen. Because deep inside, they know that whatever comes next will change the way they remember everything that happened before. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because tonight, a single conversation begins to uncover emotions that have remained hidden for far too long. Stay till the end because this chapter is not about choosing between two people, it is about finally choosing honesty over silence. They continue looking at the message glowing on the screen. There's something I've wanted to tell you for a very long time, and I don't think I should keep hiding it anymore. Their heart begins beating faster. For several minutes they don't reply. They aren't afraid of the answer, they're afraid of reopening emotions they worked so hard to quiet. The room is completely silent except for the sound of the clock on the wall. In this fictional story, they realize that sometimes the hardest conversations are the ones we've been rehearsing in our minds for months. Finally, they type a simple response. I'm listening. Nothing more. No assumptions. No accusations. Just two honest words. Several minutes pass before another message appears. I never wanted to hurt you. Looking back, I realize I made decisions while I was confused about what I truly wanted. I kept searching for happiness outside myself instead of facing what was happening inside my own heart. They slowly lower the phone and close their eyes. Those words don't erase the past, but they begin answering questions that had remained unanswered for so long. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. For the first time, they stop asking who won or who lost. Instead, they understand that everyone involved carried their own fears, misunderstandings, and emotional struggles. In this fictional story, healing begins the moment people stop trying to prove themselves right and start speaking honestly. Another message arrives. I'm not asking you to change anything. I'm not asking you to wait for me. I only wanted you to know that your kindness taught me lessons I didn't appreciate until much later. You deserved honesty, and I'm sorry I couldn't give you that when it mattered most. Reading those words, they feel something unexpected. Not excitement. Not sadness. Relief. The questions that had lived inside their heart for so long finally begin finding peaceful answers. That evening, they decide to leave the house and take a quiet walk beneath the evening sky. The streets are calm, the air feels fresh, and for the first time in a long while, they aren't replaying old arguments in their mind. Instead, they think about how much both people have grown through time, distance, and difficult experiences. They quietly whisper. Maybe closure isn't about changing the past. Maybe it's about understanding it well enough to stop carrying its weight. Those words bring an unexpected smile to their face. Just as they begin walking back home, their phone vibrates one final time. A new message appears. If you're comfortable with it, I'd like to meet someday. Not to rewrite the past, not to make promises, but simply to thank you in person for the impact you had on my life. They read the message twice. Then they placed the phone back into their pocket without answering immediately. Because this time, They know that the future should never be decided in a moment of emotion. It should be built with patience, honesty, and two people who have finally learned the value of speaking from the heart. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because the invitation they received is about to become the most meaningful conversation of their life. Stay till the end because not every reunion is about going back, sometimes it is about discovering how much two people have grown. For 2 days, they don't answer the message. They aren't ignoring it. They simply want to be certain that whatever decision they make comes from peace rather than emotion. They spend those days reflecting on everything that has happened, remembering the mistakes, the lessons, the laughter, and even the tears. In this fictional story, they realize that time has changed both of them in ways neither could have imagined. On the third evening, they finally reply. I'd be willing to meet. Not to relive the past, but to understand it. I believe we both deserve an honest conversation. Within minutes, the response arrives. Thank you. That's all I hoped for. A quiet cafe on the edge of town is chosen. It isn't fancy or crowded. It's the same place where they once spent hours talking about dreams, fears, and the future. As the day arrives, both of them feel nervous. Not because they don't know each other, but because they know each other so well. Months have passed, yet some memories still feel as though they happened yesterday. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. When they finally see each other again, neither rushes forward. They simply smile. It isn't the smile of two people pretending nothing happened. It's the smile of two people who survived difficult chapters and returned with greater understanding. They sit down, order coffee, and for a few moments, neither knows where to begin. Finally, one of them quietly says, I've replayed our story in my mind so many times. For a long while, I blamed circumstances. Then I blamed you. Eventually, I realized I also had to face my own mistakes. The other nods gently. I did the same. I thought choosing a different path would solve everything. Instead, it taught me that no relationship can bring peace if I'm not honest with myself first. The conversation continues for hours. They speak about fears they never admitted, expectations they never expressed, and misunderstandings that slowly pushed them apart. There are moments of silence, moments of laughter, and even tears. But for the first time, neither interrupts the other. They simply listen. As the cafe begins closing, one of them reaches into a small notebook and removes a folded letter. I wrote this months ago, they say softly. I never thought I'd have the courage to give it to you. With trembling hands, the other opens the letter. The first line reads, Thank you for loving me at a time when I didn't yet know how to love myself. Their eyes fill with tears. They continue reading every word slowly, realizing that the letter isn't asking for another chance. It isn't trying to erase the past. It is simply expressing gratitude, honesty, and respect. As they leave the cafe together, the evening sky is painted with soft shades of orange and gold. They begin walking side by side without speaking. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Just before they reach the end of the street, one of them quietly stops walking. They take a deep breath. Look into the other's eyes. and softly say, "There's one truth I've been carrying in my heart all this time, and I think you're finally ready to hear it." The world around them seems to stand still. Because they both know. The next words could become the beginning of an entirely new chapter. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because this is the moment both hearts have been unknowingly preparing for. Stay till the end because sometimes the greatest confession is not about asking someone to come back. It is about finally telling the truth without fear. The evening air is quiet as they stand beneath the fading sunset. Neither of them speaks for several seconds. The silence isn't uncomfortable anymore. It is peaceful, filled with understanding rather than uncertainty. In this fictional story, both of them realize that they are no longer the same people who once walked away from each other. Time has humbled them, mistakes have taught them, and distance has helped them discover what truly matters. Finally, one of them breaks the silence. "The truth I've been carrying is this. I spent so much time trying to convince myself that choosing someone else would automatically make me happy. At first, everything felt exciting because it was new. Everyone around me believed I had made the perfect decision, and for a while I believed it too. But excitement slowly faded, and I realized something important. Happiness isn't created by choosing one person over another. It comes from honesty, emotional maturity, and being willing to face my own mistakes." The other listens without interrupting. There is no anger in their eyes anymore. Only compassion. They continue speaking. "I don't regret learning the lessons life gave me, but I do regret the pain my choices caused. I wasn't emotionally ready then. I confused temporary excitement with lasting peace, and I didn't understand the value of someone who made me feel accepted exactly as I was. Looking back, I realize I should have communicated honestly instead of walking away with so many unspoken feelings. Listen carefully, because this changes everything." The person standing across from them takes a slow breath before quietly answering, "Thank you for telling me the truth. For a long time I wondered if I wasn't enough. I questioned my worth and blamed myself for everything that happened. But time taught me something too. Another person's choices don't define my value. They only reflect where that person was in their own journey." Those words fill the silence with unexpected peace. For the first time, neither person is trying to win. Neither is trying to prove who was right. Both are simply being honest. As they begin walking again, they talk for hours about everything they have learned during the time apart. They laugh about old memories, apologize for old misunderstandings, and acknowledge how much they have both grown. There is no pressure to decide the future that night. They both understand that trust cannot be rebuilt through emotional speeches alone. It grows through consistent actions, patience, and mutual respect. Before saying goodbye, one of them quietly smiles and says, "Whether our paths continue together or not, I'm grateful we finally spoke with complete honesty. This conversation gave me something I thought I'd never have again, peace." The other smiles warmly. "Peace is exactly what I found tonight too." As they turn to leave, both of them realize that this meeting wasn't about changing yesterday. It was about making sure tomorrow would never be built on silence again. And deep inside, both hearts quietly sense that the story isn't ending here. For the first time, the future no longer feels uncertain. It feels full of hope. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because this is the final chapter where every question finally finds its answer. Stay till the end because sometimes the happiest ending isn't about going back to the past, it's about two hearts meeting again with the wisdom they didn't have before. Several months pass after that unforgettable conversation. Neither of them rushes into making promises. Instead, they allow trust to return naturally, one honest conversation at a time. They learn to communicate without hiding their feelings, to listen without interrupting, and to respect each other's fears instead of judging them. In this fictional story, they discover that real love isn't built in one emotional moment. It is built through hundreds of small acts of honesty, patience, and kindness. As the seasons change, so does their relationship. They spend quiet weekends together, celebrate each other's achievements, support one another through difficult days, and slowly create new memories that are no longer overshadowed by the past. The mistakes that once separated them become lessons they openly discuss instead of wounds they try to hide. Friends notice a remarkable difference. This time, their happiness doesn't come from excitement or appearances. It comes from peace. It comes from knowing that neither of them has to pretend anymore. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. One evening, they return to the same park where they once walked away in silence. The sun is setting, the breeze is gentle, and everything feels strangely familiar. They sit on the same bench where months earlier they questioned whether their story had already ended. After a long moment of quiet reflection, one of them smiles and says, "You know what I've finally learned?" The other looks over with a warm smile. "What?" They quietly reply. Love doesn't survive because two people never make mistakes. It survives because two people become humble enough to learn from them. Those words settle gently between them. Then, without hesitation, the other reaches into a small bag and takes out the very first handwritten letter they ever exchanged. It has been carefully preserved all this time. They unfold it together and read the final sentence once more. If life ever gives us another chance, may we choose honesty before pride, patience before fear, and understanding before assumptions. Both of them smile, realizing that those words are no longer just a wish. They have become the foundation of the life they are now building together. As evening turns into night, they walk hand in hand beneath a sky filled with stars. There are no dramatic promises, no perfect fairy tale moments, and no need to prove anything to anyone. Their greatest victory is much simpler. They trust each other. They respect each other. They encourage each other. And every day, they consciously choose each other. Months later, surrounded by family and close friends, they celebrate a joyful new beginning, not because their journey was easy, but because every difficult chapter taught them how to love with greater honesty, compassion, and maturity. Looking around the room, they realize that the pain of the past no longer defines their story. The future does. Before the evening ends, they quietly make one final promise. No matter what tomorrow brings, we will never let silence replace communication, pride replace kindness, or fear replace trust. We will keep choosing each other with honesty, every single day. As they leave together, the road ahead feels brighter than ever. In this fictional story, the happiest ending was never about one person losing and another person winning. It was about two imperfect people growing into the kind of partners they had always hoped to become. And from that day forward, every sunrise reminded them that the strongest love is not the one that never faces challenges. It is the one that grows stronger because both people are willing to face those challenges together, with open hearts, unwavering trust, and a love built to last.